Hi class, we're going to take a look at number 8 from 11.2, the pizza problem. So we're going to use the numbers that I was given in my problem, and yours are probably a little different, but you can use the same ideas. So our first bit of information was that we have cheese, pepperoni, and sausage, and there were 30 altogether. We also know that the cheese was $7, the pepperoni was 10, and the supreme was 13. Then they tell us something kind of weird that is twice as much, they paid twice as much for pepperoni than they did for cheese. So however much they paid for pepperoni, they did twice as much for cheese. Okay, but that's not in a format that's helpful for us. So we need to get this into a format that works. So we want everything on one side together. Let's go the other way, just so it matches. Okay, so we have 14C minus 10P now, but it still doesn't quite look like the matrix. So we need to add in an S, and let's make the 0 be on the right-hand side. So we get 14C minus 10P plus 0S is 0. So then let's go ahead and put this back into our matrix. Okay, so we have this set. It's not written in an augmented matrix format yet though. So let's take the corresponding coefficients off and write them in a matrix. So this would be 1, 1, 130, then 7, 10, 13, 288, then 14, negative 10, 0, and 0. So now we have it in a nice matrix. What we want to do is have a 1 in this first position here, which we do, and then we want to have zeros in the 7 and the 14 position. So we got to make zeros somehow. So one thing we could do is take our first row, multiply it by negative 7, add it to the second row, and put it in for the second row. So I'm going to take negative 7 times it by row 1, okay, and then row 2, then I'm going to add these together. Okay, so now I have a row that's going to go in place for row 2. So I'm going to write my whole matrix out again. Okay, so now we have our matrix written out. What I want is a 0 here for the 14. Okay, so I'm going to use row 1 again. So negative 14, row 1, plus row 3 in for row 3. So it'd be negative 14s for row 1 and negative 420. And then for row 3, it was 14, negative 10, 0, and 0. Add them up. Okay, and then let's kind of box this area off here. Let's write our matrix next, our full matrix. Okay, so now we have a new matrix with 1 is the first entry in the first column, first row, and zeros underneath it. So that's what we wanted to do. The next thing we want to do is make a 1 out of this 3 here. So I'm going to take 1/3 row 2 and put it in for row 2. So multiply it by 1/3, divide it by 3, same thing. Okay, so now my new row 2 is going to be 0, 1, 2, 26. Okay, so I'm going to put that back into my matrix. Oh, row 2. I messed that up. Okay, sorry about that, row. So we have our new matrix here. So now we have a 1 in this position. Now under the 1, we want to have a 0. Okay, so we need to get rid of, or above the 1, we want a 0 too. So we can use this row now, row 2, to make zeros. Okay, so let's start on making this one a 0 here. So it'd be negative. Okay, so to make this a 0, we are going to take -1 row 2 plus row 1 and put it in for row 1. So let's do the arithmetic here. We have 0, -1, -2, -26. So that was negative row 2. Okay, and then row 1, 1, 1, 1, 30, and we add them together, and we get 1, 0, -1, 4. And that's going to go in for row 1. So let's get a new piece of paper out here and write our new matrix. Okay, so our new matrix is going to look like this. 1, 0, -1, 4. 0, 1, 2, 26. 0, -24, -14, -420. Sorry, it's getting a little diagonal there. So, excuse me. All right, so we have 0 above that. We want a 0 below the 1 now. Okay, so to make this into a 0, the -24, we got to take 24 times row 2, add it to row 3, put it in for row 3. Okay, so 24 row 2 is going to be 0, 24, 48, 624. Row 3, 0, -24, -14, -420. Add them together, 0, 0, 34, 204. So let's put that back in the matrix. 1, 0, -1, 4. So this is going in for row 3. So row 2 stays the same. Okay, so we have 1 with zeros below it in the first column, 0, 1, 0 in the next column. And then the next thing we'd want to do is to get it to look like 0, 0, 1. Okay, so that's our next goal here. So in this last row, to make 34 into a 1, we want to take 1/34 of it, or divide it by 34. Okay, so that's going to give us 0, 0, 1, 6. So then let's put that back into the matrix. So we have 1, 0, -1, 4, 0, 1, 2, 26, 0, 0, 1, 6. What's great now is that we have this 1 with zeros here, so we can use this row 3 again to help us out, to make a 0 here and a 0 here. Okay, so we're going to make a 0 by taking row 3 plus row 1, putting it in for row 1. Okay, so that would be 0, 0, 1, 6, 1, 0, negative 1, 4. Add them up. Okay, so then we can put that back in the matrix. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is make a 0 right here. So to make a 0 right here, we need to use row 3 again. Okay, so we're going to use negative 2, row 3, plus row 2, and put it in for row 2. So negative 2, row 3 is going to give us 0, 0, negative 2, negative 12. Row 2 is 0, 1, 2, 26. So if we add those together, 0, 1, 0, 14. So we can put that in our matrix now. Excuse me. 1, 0, 0, 10. 0, 1, 0, 14. 0, 0, 1, 6. So we finished with our matrix now. But now we need to write the answer. So the first column is for cheese pizzas, first row here. And the 1 in this place means for cheese pizzas, they got 10. So C is equal to 10. 10 cheese. For pepperoni, they got 14. So P is equal to 14. So 14 pep. And the last one, we have Supreme. And they got 6 of those. So 6 Supreme. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you need any further help with it.